You know, there's events in life where sometimes you get your hands on an idiot ball. You just, for whatever reason, you come up with something and think it's a really amazing idea. You make it, you look at it, and then you witness your mistake as it proceeds to burn right into the fucking ground. Hey there, everyone, and welcome to another Lore Ramblings. The name is Adam.
I'm Tech
My
Priest.
name is. Fuck you! I'm just kidding. Go on. I'll go last.
All right, well, I'm Imsit, and our Zaku here is.
My name is Biggie. Big Righteousness. How you doing, you all? Surprisingly, in a universe full of giant robots, law has been made its bitch. Somehow the giant robots are the more believable aspects, more workable aspects in the universe.
And if you're not aware of which universe we're talking about, it's Battletech.
Oh, I thought this was Battledroids. Oh man, I feel like a pill. I got it wrong. Oh no. I made a boner just like the
No,
designers of
really,
this book.
I thought we were talking about Rifts for a second. One of the many, many books of giant robot power armor.
Nobody plays riffs. Anybody that says they do are just posers.
But no, we're not talking about Rifts. We're not talking about Gundam. We're talking about Battletech. Specifically, their technical readouts, which are titled XTROs, in particular, their boondoggles, their boners, their errors, their mistakes, the things that should not be.
Oh
Tech
man,
being one that always loves to show life world and how military-industrial complexes works, dual nature of warfare, psychology and stuff like that too. It's on
but
the
also just bizarre designs in general are always fun.
And we'll be able to cover this in a fraction of the time that Tex Talks Battletech takes.
Yes,
no,
because
we're not. We're gonna be like 1 hour on like something on the off scout. Just you
no,
fucking wait, man.
the one that we'll probably have to take an hour on is the two lambs that are in this book, because I have to explain what a lamb is.
But
Yeah,
this book here is literally all of the failures in Battletech. Now, that is saying something,
how did they condense
given
this into 37 pages? It should be more
yeah,
like 3,852.
given that things like the Banshee exist, at least the original Banshee.
Hey, the original Banshee has a niche, and that niche is running up and punching things.
What's the
That's what a
mech that
Charger
literally
does.
sets you on fire after you fire your weapons in it?
All of them.
No, like there's
I
one in
mean,
particular that has such horrific cooling that a single round of using it could just kill you in one go.
There's a lot of
you're gonna
those,
have more
man.
specific. A lot of clan mechs run really hot.
I don't know what to say about that. You see, you thought that this was just going to be one particularly bad mech, but for us clan, it was a mere Tuesday.
The fact is that, like, design wise, there's a lot of mechs that don't sink a lot of heat very well, because they're trading off that heat sinking capacity for either more weapons or more armor.
An
Now
interesting
this
Melee
doesn't.
decision.
weapons.
Now, these mechs here eschew any kind of sense, any kind of reason, and are instead.
Oh no, there's some reason. It's just not very good.
Well, no, there are reasons. The mechs that are in here, they do have logical explanations for how they got there. It is the same logic that resulted in such amazing things in real life, such as the Vickers Valiant. Remember that horrible abomination?
I mean, the Valiant is one thing, but we're gonna get into a couple of other designs here that just sort of
Or the
yeah.
American copy of the French Chauchet light machine gun, which, because of errors in manufacture, yeah, it had a habit
They
of
gave it
distorting
to a
its
bunch
barrel.
of they gave it to a bunch of bicycle. Um,
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm just
Now,
highlighting that not all
Yeah.
of these were bad ideas from the start. Some of them were just due to bad execution in the design.
Yeah. Now to point this out, these are experimental mechs, meaning that they are not tournament legal and shouldn't be used in introductory games unless you want to do something really fun.
Oh, that's the
Now,
thing. These
there's
aren't even
one.
mechs. The beautiful part is, too,
It's
we
not
got
just.
vehicles in here as well.
It's not just mechs. Mechs are just the first sort of like few of these. Where the Caveat and Imperator will have a lot more bad mechs.
Oh,
This
hell
is
yeah. I love horrible mechs.
this is just one of those design things where it's like, all right, let's try to explain this. So
So the first on the list
we're
is
starting out with the most interesting and arguably functional design of this list, the Scout 2C.
And I love the design of this thing. It's dog shit. It's a dog shit mech, but I love the little wings it has.
The thing is, it's not
Yeah.
really that dog shit. It's got a
look at
it.
Adam, zoom in on that Bruce Goose of a mech, that flying tank.
Oh, I love it. Yeah, agreed. Let's go a little bit closer. Smile for the camera, my
Now,
guy. I
before we talk
actually,
about...
well, no, for those wondering, for the thumbnail, I intentionally got this and colorized it using the power of machinery. And because it's relatively good looking. I love its wings. And here's the thing. In the role that it was designed to do, it's actually pretty darn good.
Design
Leads me
wise,
to say, we
there's
probably talk about... Probably say what the Oscouts for, even in the first place.
design
Well,
wise,
it's in the name.
it's a scout.
That oust.
I
Ost
know
is
that,
like
but at the
the
same time, too, I
designer.
cannot express how much of a deck have an Oscar. I think the thing only has a small laser. If I
I
remember
think you need
correctly,
to improve your
battling.
ECM capacities. You're having a
Oh
little bit of
no!
interference.
Oh
So
no!
the original Ost Scout is a very interesting mech. It is 35 tons with only a single medium laser as armament. However, it has a lot of jump jets. It has a really respectable speed, and it's all intro tech, which is even more impressive. It is a mech that is entirely designed around the idea that sometimes you just need a quick, nimble scout unit that can get in there, take a hit maybe, and get out, and not need to worry about things like, direct engagement with enemy forces. It could theoretically defend itself. That doesn't mean it should.
It really shouldn't. The entire purpose of these were they have the capacity to go over difficult terrain pretty easily. They can outspeed, because there's a few mechs that are lighter than it, but it can outspeed those. And on top of that, the point of the laser was just either for spoiling attack purposes or to fall back if you run into something. It does its job fine, but what happens is, and this is why this is on here, Clan Jade Falcon takes a look at this because they need a new scout mech, and they really like the cut of this one's jib.
There's all right. To understand, you need the clan Jade Falcon already has a relatively good ECM mech, though. It's called the fucking Fire Falcon.
Correct. They already had one,
I'm
so
sorry.
this was kind of pointless. But the principles behind why they did this was they were trying to get into the sphere, and this was essentially them going, well, as we go deeper into the weak inner sphere of these beings, we need something that can use their parts.
Yeah.
No, I mean,
It's
the Fire Falcon basically fits the entirety of this profile while being, cheaper and available
Cheaper,
and an
better.
omni.
But EA here has pointed out of this something that's a bit missing. So in its weapons and ammo, it has a tag, a jump jet, a partial wing, an active probe, some more jump jets, and an Angel ECM.
No
Can
weapons.
anyone see what it's missing?
Reminder, the original Scout had a laser. It's a medium laser. It's not great, but it at least you could use it to paste infantry, defeat
the
light
medium
vehicles.
laser.
Now, here's the thing. A survey tech did suggest that the mech warrior could just ram his opponent, but
Yeah.
remember who he's talking to.
A clanner who wanted to beat him to death for even suggesting that. The the main problem with this design, and I'm going to state this, on paper, this thing is actually pretty decent at what it's supposed to do. The problem is very simple. First problem, they don't have enough heat sinking.
Can you guys
They
hear
have
me?
0 heat sinks.
I can hear you. We're
Com-
good.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure Comstar wasn't jamming me again.
Word of Blake
It has
sends its
0
regards.
heat
If this had double heat sinks, it would be completely functional. It'd be a joke, but it'd be completely functional. It has singles.
Which is weird. It's really weird they chose to go that route.
It's because the price is already insane, because rather than a standard XL engine, it's an XXL engine.
Oh, I just noticed that. Yeah, and it's rated 385. What the hell?
It
I
also
think one of
has
the things-
11 jumping a range.
So,
which,
yeah, you want to what?
so that means it generates 11 heat if it jumps. It only has 10 heat sinks, and even with the partial wing, that's still, 14 heat. The problem is that it's an XXL engine. It generates a lot of heat on its own, and it has to be sunk. So,
guess
like,
what? Guess what the C-bill cost of this whole thing is?
Well, no, we'll get there. But first,
fucking insane.
Reminder: this thing makes more heat just by doing its job than it can release. You will die in this thing if you have to do extended scouting, which is what this thing was designed to do.
To be fair,
that's the first problem. The first problem is entirely
The second problem that none of you have noticed is that one of the decisions that they made to make it even more capable of scouting than the original was that after cramming in an engine that's too big for it and adding even more jump jets, you had to sacrifice something, and the medium laser wasn't enough. So what did they sacrifice?
Armor.
Yes. Look at that look at that armor value.
I was going to talk about that in a second. I just had to stress the actual, well, to give you perspective on the cost of this battle mech, the original OS Scout, the standard, the not too brilliant, not too terrible, it works. It's about 3.4 million C-bills.
Which is pretty darn pricey, but that's mostly its ECM suite.
That's pretty cheap for a mech. The original OS Scout doesn't have an ECM suite. It's just a direct,
I could have
runner,
sworn that was pretty pricey, but I'm confusing. No, that's me being stupid. I was confusing with end mechs for whatever reason. Disregard.
Now, the Scout 2C is 30,071,610 C-bills.
How?
For a mech that is arguably worse than the original design. Now,
how?
I will say this. It is highly mobile.
Yeah. 11 walking movement is good. However, with that price, even the Diamond Sharks couldn't sell it.
The other problem is that it doesn't have any armor. Like, it has less armor than a Locust.
Now, here's the question I want to know. Does this thing even still have its original accessory equipment? Because that was probably the only reason why you would ever want to...
Not at all.
It is supposed to be a scout mech that also highlights for artillery, yet it will shut down in 3 jumps.
It's already a thing. It's called the Savannah Master.
Yeah, the Savannah Master does exactly what this thing wanted.
Like, this thing generates, as I've mentioned before, if it's moving at full tilt, it generates quite a bit of heat.
In fairness, a run of 17 is very impressive for its weight class.
Now, with 10 single heat sinks, it theoretically can jump around a couple times before it gets so slow that doesn't matter and the pilot's starting to cook themselves alive. This could be solved simply by switching to double heat sinks, at which point this would still be a terrible design, but it would be functional. Because you could do the same job cheaper by just dropping the XXL engine, putting in an XL, and then using the and dropping the speed down to a more reasonable sum of like, I don't know, like
let's. I want to also add this. No ejection system
oh
No, you
yeah,
just
there's
die.
also that.
Guess you'll
on a
die.
scout map.
That was a
Like-
problem with the original
Oh.
Ost Scout as well. Mind you, it wasn't too much of an issue because you could still get out of the mech relatively quickly, and there wasn't really any explosive components inside of it, but it did mean that if there were like an emergency, you couldn't get out of the mech very quickly.
Oh, also,
Now,
Coyote
again-
is having a brain aneurysm because a Charger is more heavily armed than this thing.
Yes,
A
there's a
Charger.
lot of mechs more heavily armed than this thing. And I want to point out, just as like a last little thing here, it actually has a pretty solid electronic warfare suite.
It's one of the only things that's actually useful about it, really.
The problem is that it's a lot of tonnage for what you're getting, and it can't do fucking anything.
It cannot be stressed how much, all these functions that it's trying to do here can just be fulfilled by a dedicated vehicle.
Not only that,
I
but
have
it
an
doesn't
idea for
have
what you can do.
symmetrical jump jets. So, all right, let me point this out here. So it has 5 jump jets in the right torso, 2 in the left,
What?
2 in the legs. Yeah, it's
So you
not
hop
centered.
sideways and
Because
slam
to
into a crater? What?
I would
to
honestly
save
with this.
weight, they put it in an XL gyro. I can understand why. They're trying to get as much performance out of this thing as possible with as large of an engine as they can shove into that. The problem is
Does this
that
thing actually
XL
helicopter?
XXL engine and those XL gyros means you have basically no critical space in the center torso to put for anything else, especially when you're running off of ferrofibrous armor and endosteel components. Dear God, this thing is less armored than a Stinger.
The Inner Sphere saw how cool mobile suits were from the Gundam franchise, and some asshole was like, "I want them to go as fast as that." Like, sir, we can't do that. We're unfortunately in the most realist robot franchise around. I don't care. I want Gundam.
No, I don't care.
Now-
I want this thing to do what the DOMs do and float on the ground. Oh, wait, that's not how this works.
Now,
Yeah.
I will say this. It won't immediately explode if it's shot. It has enough internal structure that it can theoretically take a PPC to one of the side torsos and not immediately die as long as it's not shot in the back.
Yeah, look
Well,
at that
looks
armor
like we get
value
to-
in the rear.
It's just
Looks like
one.
the engine got hit.
Yeah.
Looks like the engine and the gyro got hit. I guess I'll die now.
It is a complete
Bye.
waste of a mech.
It's a great stealth
It-
thing. No, it's not even good at that.
It doesn't even have stealth systems.
No stealth systems, and it's too hot. You can detect it on IR easily.
I would. Yeah. I think
As far as like, I can see where they're going. I think that the idea has some merit. I think that it is clanner garbage, and there's a reason why no one has ever used it.
No, what they should do. I think I figured out a use for this spruce goose piece of shit. So Clan Diamond Shark have it. What you need to do is you need to treat it among the clan like a white elephant, where you bestow the great warrior this as a sign of your displeasure with them. Similar to how the kings of Siam used to reward you with
They
a
would
white elephant.
legitimately challenge you to a death fight.
Yeah, but they'll have to use that. I'm sorry, you've displeased them.
No, they're
No.
going to challenge you outside of the mech to a death fight, and they're going to beat you to death with their bare hands rather than
Perfect.
pilot that thing.
The Bachal, the stipulation is that you both have socks.
Perfect. I can use my
filled with
heart
quarters.
attack gun to win.
You got to use your sock filled with quarters to beat the fuck out of one another.
Moving on, though, I'd say.
Also, we're getting
set
stream
design.
sniped by the
Liberal
California
Also,
group.
Yep.
not terrible.
Hey, that kind of
Until
looks like
you
the
get in-
it looks kind of like a Gaza.
Now,
So this
the
mech,
main problem with it is when you start to look into the design quirks. If it wasn't for the design quirks, this is an okay-ish mech.
Oh, let's see. Yeah, bad reputation, poor workmanship, obsolete, prototype, non-functional heat sinks.
Wait, what?
And there's your problem.
Huh? There's your
Curious,
problem.
some test pilots did express concern about heat spikes, but the techs waved those off as a typical mech warrior grousing over creature comforts.
Who made this shit? Quickcell?
Large laser.
Kaliyama is the designer. They're usually solid. And this
And
is
interesting
an
enough,
actual
despite
on
having
paper.
I was just, despite having 2 LRM-5s, only have 24 ammunition, but your SRM-2's got 50.
Because of SRM
It's based on scale
missile
and size.
amounts.
Yeah.
Oh.
Basically, both of them have 100 missiles available. It's just
No. Here's the thing, Eternal American. This thing does have heat sinks. The Liberator
just
does
It
have a
does.
mech with heat
They
sinks.
just don't work. Now, I want to say this. In theory, this is a solid enough design. This can actually do something.
It was designed to
It's got-
essentially replace the Hermes.
And the Hermes 2 is not great. This does have a very specific role. If you're talking about, I want a very light end medium mech that I can just deploy in numbers, that can operate at all ranges as a trooper mech, this is that, except it's also fast. A 6'9" movement profile puts it at the same speed as a Phoenix Hawk. Now, unlike the Phoenix Hawk, it doesn't have jump jet, so it's not quite as mobile, but it does make up for that by having, well, more firepower than a Phoenix Hawk, arguably. It's got a large missile complement. It doesn't have machine guns. It doesn't have medium lasers, but theoretically, it could do more damage than a standard Phoenix Hawk if everything hits, and you roll really well in your cluster tables. But just like the Phoenix Hawk, the second problem with that is heat. This thing would run hot. If you're firing that large laser at all, it's going to get very toasty very quickly. However,
and the reason this is an issue is it's mainly in how the chassis is constructed. It's too narrow.
Right,
It's not fit right.
It's too narrow. They didn't 100% get their design down.
To give you an idea, they made 3 of these. During test firing, one of them exploded. It was a miracle the pilot survived it. The other 2 basically were just left to rot until the last one was used as a test destruction equipment. Basically, the Moltke was tested on one of these things.
Yes. Now, again, if you take a look at the actual stats in this thing, not bad for a trooper mech. Arguably, you could drop the engine a single rating, and so it's a 5.8 instead, but that wouldn't save you that much weight, and arguably the 6.9 profile is better. It's, armor-wise, center torso, it's got 15 armor on that. That's pretty good. It's got 13 armor on its legs and side torsos. That's pretty good. Arms are a little weak, but that's fine. It's a lightish mech. You're not going to get really, really good armor on the arms usually.
It's basically
you're
a light
concentrating
medium.
Where it matters.
It's a medium mech, but it's on the light side.
It's a light medium mech, and it would function if the heat sinks actually worked.
It is just a tragedy overall, really.
It just is. Otherwise, though, it sucks. At the very least, it's actually pretty cheap for a light mech, for a medium mech. It doesn't have a huge amount of advanced technology because it's late Succession Wars.
Oh, and if you're wondering why no one's ever tried to retool, it is literally, you would have to completely rebuild the central chassis. The torso itself is the problem.
Oh, I'm
It's not the limbs. It's not the limbs. It's not the sensor arrays. It's not the cockpit. The core.
It's the core. Design. It's the core design, as in the core around the engine. You'd have to rework it. There's narrow designs like this that were produced later on. The Bushwhacker is an excellent example of that. So this theoretically could be done again, but actually functional. It's just that you could just go with the Bushwhacker.
Also, you are right, Coyote. This was first referenced in Mech Warrior, first edition.
I've seen the problem with the Liberator too, for Braun, right? It's the fact that Janos Merrick himself is the one overseeing the testing of this thing. Code.
Well, that
No,
explains many
Janos was
things.
actually smart. Janos is one of the actually smart Merricks.
Yeah, there was kind of a
well.
back-to-back briefly of those.
Or maybe. Yeah.
Breaking up again there. Cobstar really hates him tonight.
You don't mention the Merricks after all. That's not the right Merrick. You shouldn't talk about that one.
Yeah.
Journal American's asking, how does this not just explode? It does. Basically, what
It
happened is in its second salvo, it overcooked and exploded.
Right. Like the problem is again that this with non-functioning heat sinks and it's already not got a lot of them. Yeah, there's your problem. Functional otherwise though. The
It
next one though
legitimately
is one of my
exploded under a
favorite.
full barrage. That's how bad this
So-
thing is.
Our next mech here, the Scorpion Lamb.
It kind of looks like an
I
Adzam, but
have
without
to
the onion bit.
explain.
Yeah, now we need
For
to
a
explain
second.
what a
Okay.
lamb is.
Have you ever seen Macross?
It's been a while, but
Yeah.
yes.
That is
I
a
did,
lamb.
but
Yes, I remember.
I saw-
remember Jetfire from Transformers.
here's
Remember,
my joke.
Jetfire from Transformers became the Wasp. So yeah.
Here's my joke. I did see him across, but then Harmony Gold sued me for watching it.
Eh,
Eh,
I did remember Macross, but most of my memories were legitimately DMCA claimed by Harmony Gold, so I can't access them anymore.
they're unseen. My memories are unseen.
So yeah, this is an unseen mech. Also kind of
Well,
reminds me, like I
technically-
said, I mentioned the Adzam.
Kinda.
That's a mobile armor
the
from
basics,
Gundam that kind of looks like.
as we can see in the equipment here, you have the walking, running, jumping. It also accesses the aerospace rules. So if you ever wanted to play aerospace and you wanted to use mechs, here you go.
This is an odd
that's
ducky.
the
It's
only
supposed.
thing.
Yeah, it's odd.
But not
All
this
right.
one.
So first off, it's too heavy for a lamb. It's also a quad mech, which is not supposed to work for a lamb. It is.
Not with that
Alright.
attitude.
So the Scorpion, as is a interesting medium quad mech that arguably doesn't do what it really needs to do with a quad design to be really good. Which there's a few that are really, really good. I would say the Thunder Fox is one of them. You could argue the Goliath is okay. And then there's the Bargus. The Bargus is basically like the ultimate of like, all right, here's how you make a quad that doesn't suck. You put as many big guns on that fucker as possible.
The Goliath is supposed to work like an AT-AT. You know, it's just a big looming thing of death that walks towards fortifications with a fuck ton of rockets on it.
Right. Well, the Goliath is, well, the Goliath. The original plans for this with quad mechs is that there was just some fucking crazy guy who was like, you know what? Quads are the future.
Well, it
Quads
wasn't even
will
made
be
by
the
a
future.
scientist. It wasn't even made by an engineer. This was a military project. This was a Militech project
Yes,
by the
that's the guy that came
SDLF.
up with. No, the quad design has always been an odd duck for battle mechs. There's not a lot of them. The ones that are able to like actually be designed and were fielded, some of them are really interesting in terms of like, oh, I understand why they did this, and I also understand why no one really ever does this. The benefits in the rules are kind of a little bit neat, like they can kind of sidestep. They're a little bit easier to pilot. There's a few other kind of like advantages that
Stability
they get.
of platform.
The downside is damage rules in terms of you have 4 legs. You have more locations you need to spread your armor over.
Which gives me the
It's
great
heavier.
idea of the one-legged
You
mech.
get less space out of it because, like, for your tonnage, like you're getting less actual core space out of it because you're not a big cylinder.
So what you're telling me is, instead of quad mech, we should have just made more giant spider mechs, more legs. We need more legs.
You
The
make a giant
centipede
heavy
mech.
crab, you know. But in any case, this was
So quad mechs are kind of
actually
fiddly.
functional.
Yeah, quad mechs are interesting. This one's functional. Then they wanted to do
No.
Then they wanted to do
No,
what was
sorry.
called land air mechs.
No, you need to understand. So on the ground, this design was actually very functional. It sort of improved how the lamb, like how the baseline Scorpion was going to function. it had a lot of more flexibility in its limbs. It had a lot of things, and everybody was sort of like, "Oh man, this is great," because the Scorpion has a reputation, and because of how the legs were designed and how stiff they are, that walking around in one of them is roughly like the equivalent of riding a very, very angry horse. You are
Oh yeah,
shaking around in that motherfucker.
I forgot that mech pilots use neuro helms. That's why they do the
Yeah,
two-legged.
as
That's the
Buddy
other
points
reason.
out, people don't generally move on fours.
It's
Although I would
because
disagree. I know plenty of chuds who move on fours.
the thing is though that so they use what are called neuro helms. Mech pilots, for those of you not familiar with BattleTech, they use what are called neuro helms. It's similar to synchronization from Evangelion a little bit. Not quite. It just gives you feedback into the mech system, so it's easier for you to conceptualize two legs than four. That's the other reason quad mechs are not as common.
It's basically a sensory thing, because remember, it's using you as a way to balance itself. It's using your own inner ears as a balance method alongside its gyroscope.
And do you use your arms to crawl around like a spider? Don't think so.
Usually not, unless you're really, really drunk.
Or alternatively, you're just going to try to terrify someone while they're drunk.
Speaking of drunk, I would consider the next one.
No,
No, we need to go.
We
need to explain this. This is
so.
Oh, my.
Let me put it like this: they're trying to get this thing as an air mech. It's trying. They try. It fails. It is too fucking awkward to be able to turn into a land air into its air mech and transform back. There is problems with this design. Eventually, it gets canceled. The company goes under. It gets absolutely fucked over. However, the land air mech concept would be brought back later on by the word of Blake, and this is one of their first attempts at it, was basically to try to remake this thing, which is really funny. And it failed because it's a bad idea. It
has too much weight for what you need it to do.
It's too heavy. It has a lot of problems with its piloting already.
And on top of that, you have. So the thing is, this thing operates on Zeta Gundam logic, where it has it transforms. It is a transforming gimmick because remember, this was one of the unseeables, unwatchables. You can't look at it. And those were made during like the 80s, where you had Transformers and Zeta, which also used the transformation gimmick.
It wasn't. I don't think, was the Scorpion one of the unseen? I'd have to check.
I don't think the Scorpion.
Don't remember it being so.
You're just thinking of the General Wasp.
Probably.
You're thinking of the Wasp Lamb, which is a different story. This next one, though, is like, all right, so somebody decides, you know what? The Scorpion, the reason why that didn't work is they didn't have enough aerodynamics.
Oh, this looks like something you'd fight in Metal Gear Solid. I love
it. It does, doesn't it? The Champion is one of
the champion!
Yes, the Champion is one of my favorite, like, baddish 60-ton designs.
It has all the things I love.
It's like a dragon, but with less charm to it.
It's like
how I describe the baseline Champion.
It's like a mildly autistic raven. I love it.
I do have a soft spot for the Champion in my heart, because I really do love. I love mechs that look like planes. I also really like the Black Python. It's really cool.
Right, which is sort of based on yeah.
It was always weird to me to learn that. It was always weird to me to learn that Champion was not originally an LAM mech itself too, because it looked like a jet. That's what fucks me up so much.
Well, the main thing about the Champion is that the Champion's role was very simple. The Champion was designed to be a very fast, heavy mech that would carry a decent amount of weapons and armor straight to the fight very quickly. It moved 5'8". It's basically a dragon, but with better weapons and less armor. If you like the dragon, you'll probably like the Champion, though probably not as much.
Armor.
The problem is that armor is not as good because it's a 60-ton mech. That's kind of an awkward weight range, especially if you're maximizing your speed at it. The armament does carry an AC-10, a couple of lasers, SRM-6. It's solid. It's good, but it's a heavy mech, and there's other heavy mechs that just outperform it. I'm looking at the Thunderbolt and basically going like, yeah, that's a
because
heavy
like
mech
3
there.
lasers, SRM6, and ammo.
I gotta point out NDR here saying it looks like the plain equivalent of a pug.
It does. It has brachycephaly. Oh no. Oh no.
It's a weird deformed plane, yeah.
And much like a pug, the regular champion itself too also cried out for death.
I just realized. This is the unholy love child of Metal Gear Rex and Big Zam.
Yeah, so the other thing about this design is that they had to ditch the actual reason you would want the fucking champion in the first place, which is the AC-10 plus all the other weapons. It doesn't have that.
Oh yeah, they cut that out. Why?
It's
Why?
less armed. It's less armored than the standard champion. I'd have to take a look. It is not as fast as it should be.
I can tell
It
you,
has
yeah, I think it did
heat
lose some of its armor just because 14 looks like they cut something. For the torsos,
14
it
for
looks a little
internal
bit cut.
structure, 18. No, it has actually a pretty respectable armor value at 9 tons. I'd have to double check that against the standard champion, but that looks around that. They might have dropped a ton of armor. I'd have to double check. In any case, the design failed completely because it's heavier.
Yep, it's heavier, it's fatter. Oh, and on top of that, you want to know why they got rid of that AC-10? It needed space for the transformation process.
However,
Right.
as Coyote points out, look at its quirks. Non-functional conversion system.
So they got rid of the equipment. They actually got rid of the equipment to make it convert.
No, it has the equipment.
No,
it just doesn't work
they
right.
cut
because
stuff
it's too
out.
Big.
They cut stuff out to make it do it. And it didn't work.
And it doesn't work. It also has no arms, which is a iffy quirk at the best of times. And all in all, this thing was canceled for a reason. As a proof of concept, theoretically,
its turds were also sluggish.
Yeah, theoretically, it's proof of concept that you could make like a fixed wing kind of thing for a larger mech that would improve its jumping capability.
Oh no, here's the thing. It actually does convert. So I'm looking at it. The conversion system does work, but the one time they transformed it, it already showed severe fatigue, and they predicted that it would only take a few transformations before the thing catastrophically broke apart.
Well,
right. So effectively,
I guess we got to just use the basic procedure on this. Someone get out the wax.
The next one, though, is
it's an Amaris weapon.
It's an Amaris design.
It looks
Remember
like an
how I said that Amaris built super weapons? You know,
so
the
look at this
laser.
Large pulse lasers, several Gauss rifles, flamers, an ECM, medium pulse lasers, and an ER large laser, and non-functional upper and lower leg actuators.
Oh,
this
fantastic.
piece of shit that is 110 tons can't fucking move.
Yep.
It's too heavy to actually move. Eventually, it would become the Stone Rhino. Eventually.
It took time.
It took a lot of time, though, and honestly, the Matari is one of my favorite just stupid designs, because of course the Clanners would try to make this thing work.
So I have a question. When it comes to Stefan Amaris and his characterization, do you believe he was a man that was in it over his head, or was he just an insane man that just,
insane?
He was a fucking idiot.
He was a moron and insane.
All indications are that he
turned Venus hot by trying to turn it into its beams into a laser. He's insane.
He destroyed. He wrecked planetary ecosystems, massacred more people than the rest of the fucking successor states combined could have done.
And then just because fuck it, he destroyed Venus. Like, it's still technically habitable, but it's dying.
Yes,
no, it's inhabitable by this point.
Have you considered that Star League was bad?
Oh, hold on. Also, heat sinks. Apparently, the heatsink was supposed to keep the mech cool, so long as all 3 large lasers were not fired simultaneously.
Yeah, I mean,
That's a
no
design. That's
shit.
not really a design fault.
3 large pulse lasers generates what, 30 heat? Yeah,
Yeah.
no shit, that's gonna be really hot.
Honestly, that's not unreasonable. What you do is you just like this is a common thing. A lot of mechs run hot like this, and the common
like
operating
a little
procedure is
bit
to
of over. A little bit over is generally fine. Like this would be a couple points over its heat sinking plus movement. You're fine.
You just pace out. You
If
just pace out your blasts,
right, like basically you just disable one of those next
or
turn
you
or swap over to your
alternate.
2 medium pulse lasers, or just drop the larges and then use your Gauss rifles.
Also,
And
we
Also,
put the Guardian EC in the legs. Don't ask why.
oh,
not enough space because they wanted an ER large laser in the center torso.
Yeah. Don't you want?
Fuck.
Come on. Don't you want
my
lasers
laser.
with your laser?
Okay, yeah, like at that point, if it's not moving, it won't overheat if it's firing all those lasers. I thought that was a third large pulse laser there. My bad on that.
No, there's another one.
Uh, no, there's 2 large pulse lasers,
A
and
medium
then
and an ER.
a medium pulse laser, and then the ER pulse laser.
Yep.
Sorry, ER large laser. The
Eh,
medium pulse laser is also rear facing in the head slot, which is a choice.
That way they can't shoot me from behind.
I
which
mean,
makes sense because the thing is that
it's
all of
2-3.
these,
It's slow.
all the engineers were executed for treasonous incompetence.
The best part is it
It
was
was
based on his own
eventually
designs.
scrapped. It couldn't actually do it because the stress was too much. It was too heavy for what it could do. The defense wise, it has a good amount
Yeah.
of armor, but like it's too heavy. It just
Yeah.
cannot support its own weight and still move around and still be functional.
Next, though,
It-
All in all, the big
Next,
problem is
this is
if you shed
stupid.
if you shed a couple dozen tons, you could probably get it to work. The problem is
Well, that's what the Clanners did. They shoved off 10 tons and
that's
they
what,
created
and that gets us
the Stone Rhino.
and the behemoth.
But that's the Stone Rhino.
Yeah. Oh.
Yep.
But next up is
a vehicle. Hell
flat-
yeah.
from 2390.
The
I love this
Thorizer.
concept. So basically, remember, the land air mech, there's another idea. Someone was looking at something and was like, I can make that fly. Because hovercraft, right?
They can fly.
Hovercraft could theoretically provide air support because they could use the wing and ground effect.
Essentially, what this guy was thinking is we could totally make something like an chronoplane, a ground effect vehicle. All we need to do is figure out a way to make it go from lifting body to able to go to the point where it can do low-lying ground missions.
Except for
this
the
also
fact that
meant
it can't fly.
Which the problem is that as I said before,
If you're
electro
exploiting ground
that would
effect, that's
interfere
not
with
happening.
your. If you're exploiting the ground effect, you can't exactly be using the hovercraft. So it has to be able to swap between it. If it's on there and the hovercraft's there, then it's not going to actually do anything. So it has to be able to retract and add some of that.
And by doing
Now,
that, you destabilize, because the thing about ground effect aircraft vehicles, the moment you alter the balance at all, you ruin the ground effect. You will crash at extremely high speeds and die screaming.
now
Now, I was going to say, it has a front and rear SRM2s because if you're dogfighting, you
it
want to be
has
able to shake
front.
off people.
Yeah, like this isn't unusual for a
It's like an
vehicle
assault.
design at all.
So ground effect vehicles are rated as boats, for those curious. This is the equivalent of just ASW. It's anti-surface warfare. Basically, what it's designed to be, a quick assault boat that just blasts missiles and then retreats backwards. And that's not an unreasonable thing for this.
It's not completely unreasonable. The problem is that it just doesn't do what it's supposed to do well. Because to be able to go and fly, it's too slow. It's too heavy to get enough lift. It doesn't have enough acceleration. It's using a fusion engine, which creates more weight, more heat, all this other stuff. Fuel wise, it's not like the fuel is taking all that. Its armor is not very good. It exists. That's about all I can really say about it. And yeah, on top of that, it's hard to pilot it.
Yeah, because it's extremely difficult. Oh, here's another one. The hegemony, because they were desperate to actually have aerospace defenses, they bought this run and came
They
to
brought they
regret its
bought a
choice.
they bought a couple dozen of them, and then they realized this is a fucking lemon, and they got rid of it.
No, they didn't get rid of it. They foisted it off into their militia after ripping out the airborne stuff to make it a bit faster.
Basically, they ripped out the fuel tanks, and they disabled the conversion equipment, ripped out the fuel tanks as extra cargo space, and it is now just a mediocre hovercraft, which got scrapped pretty fast.
It's full of eagles.
It got the nickname the Goonie Bird.
Well, yeah, because it's stupid. The next one, I actually think this design has a theoretical part. Like, theoretically, this is sort of an idea.
It's another hovercraft.
It's another hovercraft dual motive system. In this case,
transfer from a hovercraft
to a tracked vehicle.
Okay, so
Transformers.
No. Here's the logic behind this, right? So hovercraft vehicles they cost a lot of energy to run, and a way to save on that would be if you could convert it to a different transportation method, because you don't have to constantly burn energy to constantly make it hover, right? You could just use its weight. Makes sense, right? The problem is that actually unironically makes it way more expensive than if you just made a big fucking tracked vehicle.
Right. Now, the thing is that the in hover mode, it's actually very fast. It's very effective at that. The problem is that it's not always in hover mode. It has all this. There's a lot of ideas.
It starts out, I believe, as tread.
No, it actually started as a hovercraft. So this is technically, the Condor is a hovercraft you can get, and it's a pretty solid machine.
No, what I mean is that, because it's not saying hover to tread, it's tread to hover conversion.
Which is weird, because it says the Condor hovercraft, so I thought that they took a pre-existing craft.
The conversion is, it's a Condor style hovercraft that they wanted to put a track system in. And honestly, like, it really isn't terrible as a hovercraft. The problem is that it needs, a lot more to going for it than just that. It could be really, really good. It's just not gonna work out.
Yeah, they were almost always delivered in tracks down mode.
That's the problem. And making them actually convert was a pain in the fucking ass.
Yeah. So you have a tracked vehicle that can't transform.
Right. So it was effectively, the other problem is that the retraction system would often snag, which really is a problem when you're trying to make some of this stuff work. It's also meant that to save weight, they had to reduce armor and weapon coverage, which, if this had actually functioned, would have been totally fine for a lot of commanders, because it's like, now we have an actual hovercraft that, if it does take the hit, it can work.
And alternatively, we're running into hills, tracked mode.
Right. Forests, tracked mode. It's all these other things that solve the main issues with hovercraft in a military environment. And it's stuck because
it was a clunky piece of shit. And speaking of which, the Lyrans loathed this thing, and they were stuck with it.
They ordered a battalion of it, and they regretted it.
No, they were stuck with it for a while. But here's the best part. In typical Lyran fashion, by the way, the designer got away with it. And out of revenge, what happened was the other guys banded together to use their politics to shove him into a backwater, where essentially his entire command was given these, because they were eventually given to militia units. So,
look, I'm gonna say it. If the lines were too pussy not to load them up with enough explosives and use them as suicide units, that's on them.
It's
not them using their creativity.
It's a 50-ton thing. You don't really want to just...
The next one, I don't even know why. This is one of the ones where I'm like, this is a fun...
It's called the Hyperdimension Neptunia.
So this thing, the only way this could be more brain damaged if you go, hey, can we make a submarine that can also fly like a rocket?
Let me put it like this.
What?
This is
Let's
insane.
combine a hydrofoil with a submarine. Theoretically, this means that it could speed across the water and then go underneath it when it needs to actually do combat operations. The problem is, why?
So
How?
I wanna play as James Bond.
Again, it's like what I said. They saw Mobile Suit Gundam and they saw the big tray, and they're like, "We want land carriers. That looks awesome."
well, I was thinking the Yukon class submarine, or would it be the Mad Angler?
The Mad Angler didn't do this shit.
Project.
True, that's because Xeon was competent with its navy.
So,
Unlike this.
From a relatively functional submarine, they had to uninstall a bunch of shit to get that
and then
hydrofoil
add
on
things
there.
which ruined its hydrodynamic design, because this is another thing. If you're adding hydrofoil equipment, you've ruined the actual speed of the submerged version of your vehicle. There's a reason submarines have the shapes they do. It aids in movement.
It also comes down to the fact
they're
that
shaped like a
these
Subway
components and how these are added on makes it that it can't go below 250 meters.
Oh,
that's really shallow.
It crippled its dive depth too?
Yes.
Oh, God. Oh, by the way,
it's just a hunk of metal.
The hydrofoil didn't even work. It didn't even work.
Under the pressure.
No, it did work because
you want to. I want to other thing. Obsolete 3032. Project start date 3031.
That basically means that it's just not available after that. Usually.
Here's the thing with the hydrofoil. Problem is, it didn't work as a. The submarine part kind of fucked it over because it's under the pressure of the ocean.
What now? You're cutting in and out again.
Here's the thing about this design. Theoretically, this is not the worst functioning idea for the hydroplane, because there is a theoretical merit to having a semi-submersible vessel that has a hydrofoil. The problem is it's a full submarine.
Not only that, but another problem is the more multi-functions you add to a vehicle, the more expensive it's going to be.
It's not only that, it's expensive, and it's like, okay. In this case, it's more that this design is absolutely fucking insane. It nearly reached its proposed top speed. It's just that the hydrofoil failed because of the weight.
Oh yeah, chat's been mentioning this before you even did. Coyote and Donman both pointed out, yeah, they tested it once. It spontaneously failed.
The weight failure, because the stress is on that hydrofoil.
It's a 100-ton piece of shit. What do you expect?
Now, the thing is that it's still got it up to about 60 kilometers an hour.
Which is very impressive for...
That's incredibly impressive.
How many knots is that?
A lot.
Like,
it's
60
like
kilometers an hour is about 30 to 40 knots. If I'm, let me check.
I think it's more, actually, because knots are slower than you think.
Kilometers, 1.8 times, so 60.
About 100 knots.
That's about 350.
No, it's it's about 32 knots.
Oh, it's halved. Okay, 30 knots. Fair enough.
Like 32 knots is not bad. Like 32 knots, if you're talking about like something that would normally be making less than half of that.
Yeah, submarines usually go between 15 to 20, depending.
I mean, this is not like a super advanced submarine. This is a slow boy. This is not a.
I mean, also here's the thing: Battletech, because of the way they handle weight, a 100-ton sub is tiny. Like,
right.
Submarines in real life are much bigger than this.
Right. This is not very big.
It's so tiny.
Yeah. I mean, theoretically, it's actually a pretty solid speed for something like that. But the problem is, well, the hydrofoil failed. If it had reached its 70 miles an hour, it would be matching modern nuclear submarines as a hydrofoil. Able to do the hydrofoil like for redistribution or like strategic movement. It's not a horrible idea. It just defeats the purpose because it can't dive deep enough.
I think no shit, because if you're going to do a conversion, so here's the thing, right? With submarines, the most ideal shape for a submarine is a sphere, and the more holes that you have to cut in for conversion systems, the more weak points you build in the hull. There's a reason submarines are big metal tubes, isn't it? And the only reason we have them as tubes is because we had to compromise for for functionality versus depth
Yes,
diving.
but again, considering this is on an internal combustion engine,
I mean,
that's impressive for a speed.
I mean, hell, most Periphery worlds could build this thing if they wanted to.
I mean, yeah, like it's not the worst design idea. It's just that, again, it runs into the problems of, well, a hydrofoil combined with a submarine. If this was like a semi-submersible vehicle, I would be 100% for this. Basically, the idea being that it's using the water to hide a lot of its actual bulk when it's engaging in combat.
Yeah, like what you do is it looks like a small PT boat, but in reality, it's like a little frigate.
It's much larger, and it's using that to the water as basically a shield against penetration of the hull.
If you're curious,
I sure do.
Sorry.
I sure do hope Constar doesn't fuck me over again this time.
I do. I can serve. I once served as a follower of Blake. I can teach you something. Check your noise cancellation options on your mic on the service that we use.
Oh no, I busted out the heavy duty equipment for this shit. So if it doesn't work, I'm just
No,
gonna
like
give
in
up
your
and get
sound
drunk.
options specifically. If you're curious, sound options, the standard noise cancellation for Discord is a bit screwy.
Up though,
But-
I love
the
this thing because it's stupid.
It's the final boss of autism.
It is
Trains.
an armored war train
Aww.
Choo choo, motherfucker.
using clan tech.
Run by the Federated Sons.
Here's the thing, right? Armored trains are a viable thing that was used in war, and I think not to this day, really, but it was a concept that was used up until after World War II.
The problem is that it still has to use tracks.
Correct. And that's why armored trains aren't really viable, because you would just target the tracks. Because, hey, guess what happened during World War II? We improved our ability to do pinpoint infrastructure bombardment because bomb sites, guidance, radar systems, and nowadays you have smart missiles. You can't really do this.
No.
After we take over an area, just rebuild the track.
Technically, yeah, you can rebuild the track in a day. The problem is, what you fix in a day can be bombed to hell and back in hours.
The problem is that it's a train. Like, otherwise, this design for this vehicle is like, wow, everything about it seems kind of useful. And then it's a train.
Well, yeah, of course they have trains, Eternal American. They do have trains. If you're curious, it's one of the most economical ways to transport cargo across planets.
I really can't say anything more about this other than it's kind of impressive for a train, but it's still a train.
Look. Oh, look, there's an alien.
It also has C3 capability, so this was also supposed to be a command bunker.
Yes, it's not. Again, there's a lot of things where you're like, oh, I can understand why they wanted to build this.
Its cost was expensive because it used clan tech. That's a problem.
You know what? This would be fun. Is if you had a battle set up and
isolated the train.
You know what? Fuck it.
Mere 2 kilometers, and then they pointed out
pull out your old Thomas the Tank Engine stuff.
It's limited.
They mentioned that they defeated this in military exercises. So what happened is half a lance of stingers.
Yeah.
A half lance of stingers destroyed 100+ million C-bills.
Because they simply tore up some track, kept it to basically a 2 kilometer stretch of it, at which point it's just an artillery platform. I will give it that. It's an effective artillery platform because it's got fucking arrow 4s.
There's a part of me that just, when I'm thinking of this thing, I'm reminded of Star Fox's Macbeth level, where with the train, with the heavily armored retro futuristic train with all those artillery items on it.
All you had to do is just follow the damn train, CJ.
No, you got to hit the 8 switches to have it drive into the ammo dump, exploding.
Anyway, Moving on
Then
from
we-
that to here is your wing and
Oh,
ground
and here's what
effect.
the iron. Oh, I love the design of this thing. No,
This is, by the way,
I
a
love the
flying
Iron Horse. It's great.
submersible.
we
Yes, no,
gotta look at
the Iron Horse is fun. The next one is where I go into. Remember, you were talking about like an XTRO plane that could be a submarine.
Well, before then,
Sea
another
bass.
thing from a. Oh, sorry. You okay?
No, I was just saying it's the sea bass.
Yeah, now you're sounding a bit
I've been here
faint.
the whole time. I've just been letting you guys speak.
You might want to up the volume on there. Comstar really hates you.
Hello?
What did you do? Did you have an interdiction signed against you? Do we have to worry?
Man, I don't know. Maybe it's because we're all streaming at once, man.
I don't know, man.
I don't know. Does this sound better?
A lot better.
Yeah.
So
Good.
Eternal goes, you'd think they would just use vehicles since fusion engines are a thing. We still use trains in real life because again, it's economies of
they
scale.
still use standard vehicles.
Also,
in
let me
Battletech
tell
a
you,
lot.
about the concept of the nuclear train. That is an actual, and here's the thing: the reactor for a nuclear train, it could work. The problem is train accidents.
Exactly.
The reason why we still have trains in today's modern day is because if we didn't have trains, what would all the autistic people be doing?
That too.
Battletech.
That's a very important secondary reason, actually.
But so we have here the sea bass, and yes, it is a flying submersible.
Oh God. Hey, do you want
I mean, hell, we
a
have
ground effect vehicle in a submarine? I was joking. I was fucking joking.
We
It
have
is
planes. We have plane boats. So why not submarine planes?
well. After 10 minutes of not hearing, they dispatched a submersible by contact. After none of the observers were sent back home and rescue missions began. It showed that the seals by the cockpit door were damaged by flight and failed when the sea bass resubmerged.
So here's the thing that happened.
They got Delta P'd.
Yeah. So here's the thing: the concept's not necessarily the worst idea. There's
It's only a
experiments.
20-ton vehicle. Like, it's not terrible.
I think in this case it might have actually just been they had a bad contractor for the cockpit.
I mean, there was some other stuff. It couldn't take off at the rate that they wanted it to.
I mean, that's a design fault, but there's problems like that
Half
all the
a
time.
kilometer is a genuine, like, ooh, kind of feeling
You're
to
making
that.
you're making a weird, awkward piece of shit that's in the ocean. That's fine. Half a kilometer is 500 meters.
Both
That's
developed
not that
failures. Like, this is not amazing, but
I mean, it reminds me of some of the experiments they did. So, funnily enough, the concept of an aircraft carrier submarine has been repeatedly designed. Ultimately, again, the biggest problem is weak points, and I think that's ultimately what scuppered this. Because look at those wings, and then remember that pressure once you go to a certain depth, it really does target weak points like that. I think that's what actually did it, not the cockpit windows. The cockpit windows just were the weakest point.
By the way, it was sold to the planet of Albert Falls for their militia, the last prototype, and it remains their only functional aircraft with armament.
I mean, I think that's a sign of a victory right there.
I mean, it's technically a victory. Like, I
works.
guess
It works.
Yeah.
And honestly, if you put it on a Periphery ocean world, like if you wanted to say like a Periphery ocean world
as a flying boat, it'd be fine. It's just don't let it go underwater.
Well, no, a flying boat that's like a low-level surface skimmer. Like if you just need to go a bit under to hide a bit, it'll do that fine.
Next up is a vehicle featured in the Battletech cartoon.
I just have for whatever reason,
fighter.
Despite the fact that I think the sea bass is a joke, I don't know why I'm defending it so much. It's so stupid.
So much like its namesake in a mech, it also had a bit of some problems. In this case, it soon became clear that the excellent handling and stretching its fuel reserves were about the only thing this new fighter could offer.
The main problem is this: it wants to do two different things. It wants to be a conventional aerospace fighter.
Okay.
And it wants to be, a fusion-powered aerospace fighter. Like, it wants to be conventional and not. Which leads into this real fucking problem.
Oh God.
It can't carry enough weaponry.
2 medium lasers
That's
on
not
a
enough.
50-ton
It can't be
fighter.
fast enough. It can turn really, really well, but it's not fast enough. It's not heavily armed enough. It doesn't have enough armor. It has really good range. It has really good like operational stuff. Like if you were saying this is a patrol craft, theoretically, yeah, sure, but not very good for it considering everything else.
Well, what do
Yeah.
you expect when your company is called Wanker?
I think it's the fact too that they put rotaries on something that's supposed to go into space too. I mean, it's just
Space doesn't care
Yeah.
about things like
Space doesn't give a
aerodynamics.
shit about that. Yeah, like aerodynamics doesn't matter in space.
If it was a floating brick, like here's the thing: if it looked like a floating brick, or like the letter Q,
It's not though. It actually is capable of handling itself in atmosphere perfectly fine.
But I mean, if it was purely for space, you could make a floating brick, and no one would give a shit.
It also has pretty decent armor protection for what it is. It's just the problem is like it's not enough. It doesn't have enough speed. Its speed firepower weight ratio is just really fucked up because they have to throw the extra engine on it.
And that's the thing Coyote mentions. The entire point of this thing's creation was concerns about fueling, because conventional engines require gasoline, and then fusion engine requires, well, fissile material.
The fusion and the idea. The thing is also that the turbine propulsion allows it to operate in atmosphere more efficiently.
Yep.
By using that conventional engine.
Because the conventional engine has more power rating, technically.
It's more accurately, it's easier to supply. It's more functional in atmosphere, etc., etc. There's reasons, there's ideas behind it, but
it's a failure in what it
doing
needed
nothing.
to. Honestly, I don't see this as a failure. I see this as something that you could kind of put out as like, you know, the areas around jumps in your system. You put like a wing of these guys to at least scout out, report back, give, you know, like maybe add a decent
The
ECM
problem
to
is
it.
that there's better options for that.
True.
This,
But I'm thinking like you could foist this off on the Periphery, and they would happily accept it because they have no other option.
They would look over and they'd see that a cheetah is cheaper and more available, and they'd buy that instead.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough.
Next, though, is the Cheetah 2. It also suffers from being poor design.
I like that. That was a perfect segue. I didn't even think about it like that.
The
Wow.
problem with the Cheetah 2 is the Cheetah 2 is an aerospace fighter that can't actually, well...
Small laser fucking what?
On a 25-tonner?
What?
On a 25-ton that it's...
So,
how do I put this?
The justification for this was to allow it to be a high-speed bomber.
What?
Because it only carries the standard.
Yeah, it carries the standard loadout. So it's just a worser cheetah.
It's just a worse cheetah. Now, I will say this, though. Theoretically, if you're talking about a really high-speed jump bomber, yeah, it could do that well. The problem is...
The increased engine forced the removal of a third of their armor and dropped its two... Why? Why?
Because fast. Gotta go.
Go fast.
Gotta go
faster,
fast.
Faster.
Faster.
That's about on par. That's about on par with. Oh man, I'm forgetting the name of it.
Now, I will say this: it would be the ideal nuke delivery vehicle.
Oh, if you want like a Vulcan bomber, sure.
You just need a
missile at that point.
You just need to get a pilot with a cowboy hat.
Hey, what's the name of the mech that Zimad made in competition with the Zaku 1 that just went fast until it exploded?
The Zuda.
That's the
Zuda.
Yes.
Zuda. This is like that, only it doesn't explode. It just exists to be shit.
I mean,
the next one.
It will explode when a rifleman locks onto it.
True.
Then the next one here is the Auto Scout, the automated scout unit.
Automated scout jump ship with a robotic control core. Guess what happened?
Did the robot wake up and scream that it wanted to die?
No.
Remote access failed.
remote access failed, remote planning failed, it had no idea where it was going. It just, yeah, it fucked up. It's
Maybe
somewhere out in space somewhere, and no
you
one
know
knows
what?
where.
Maybe it found aliens. Maybe it found the colony of bird-like aliens that it made friends with.
I was thinking more like it comes back later on as like a V'ger probe, a la the original Star Trek movie,
Yeah, the next one
or the
I
floating
really think is,
sausage that demanded to see
yeah,
whales in the fourth one.
but yeah, the next one though, I don't
Is the
consider an actual
Enterprise.
fail. I don't consider this an actual failure. This is only thrown in here because someone on the design team really likes working with warship designs and putting them in books, and wanted to put one in here.
I mean, think about it
Because
like
the only
this.
thing that
They
says
really wanted to make a war. They wanted to, if I remember, I think they wanted to make a space fighting version for BattleTech, but no one
However,
played it.
here's
there
the
is
thing.
there is
Yeah.
rules for
Yeah, but
that.
no one plays it.
It does not produce enough thrust to leave its berth.
Fantastic.
The thing,
The viewing
that's what they
audience gave up
say.
after 4 hours of waiting for the warship to rectify the propulsion problem. Yeah. It's now just a hulk.
Basically the engines didn't work with the thruster network. Basically, it's a design issue. The actual specs for this thing, if you take a look, are pretty solid. I think that this is one of those, like, they don't even have the design quirk thing
Hey,
saying
hey,
non-operable.
Hey, who put my Dark Empire Star Wars drawings here?
It can
Look at
launch an
those
entire
ships.
wing every 10
That's from
seconds.
fucking Dark Empire.
You're saying that, but here's what I'm reminded of. This is, oh crap, what's the name of the stupid battleship aircraft carrier Gurren was obsessed with? You know those, it's
Rusai?
big, the bigger than the Guazines, the really big thing. The
Was this
aircraft
in
carrier.
Zeta? Was this
Yeah, no, this is an actual.
the Gaw?
The what?
The Gaw?
No, that's an assault bomber. It's the aircraft carrier battleship. It was his flagship.
Oh, the thing that they used in Zeta.
Yeah.
Right, when they were on Earth. Oh god.
Not on
I
Earth.
forgot.
It's a spacecraft. It's a spaceship. It's one of their. It's part of Xeon's navy. I forget the name of it. I feel stupid.
I thought you were talking about the big flying thing that
Dolos.
they
The
used when
Dolos.
on Earth.
The Dolos class carriers. That's what this reminds me of. Sorry.
Oh,
So
hold on.
I always got the feeling that the reason why you don't see monitors is because they're like, why the fuck would we spend all this money on a pseudo a battleship when we could just spend all that money
Whoops.
on a Bastion space station?
Sorry about that. Something
Yeah,
funny happened there.
Oh,
There we go.
The second, the last one in this list is the monitors. It's a literal failed prototype.
Oh.
Basically, the idea is it's a warship. You take the jump engine out of, and now it's better because it doesn't have to worry about that tonnage that you can now devote to weapons and all this other
Which,
stuff.
as a principle, this is actually an interesting idea that you can see in some sci-fi settings, because if you do this,
Traveler
does
does this a lot. Yeah,
there's other ones that do, because if you don't need to put in a jump drive, that frees, you can add armor, you can add what, it's nice.
You could add more gun. Everyone loves more gun.
Sorry to sound like a broken clock, but I literally just said it like 5 minutes ago. But I always just feel like it would be more of an investment to invest more in a space station rather than a movable monitor.
But a
ship,
space station
a
has
la
to have crew.
The Bastion.
You could have more. You could put more gun.
You can
well,
also
this thing
put a
also
lot
has to have a larger crew because it has more gun.
Correct.
Also, Coyote here has explained that the reason for no thrust in the Enterprise is because the fuel lines were not connected and there was no way to fix it.
Basically, they fucked up in the construction.
Yeah, it's a good ship. They just fucked up building it.
I mean, at least they weren't missing an O-ring. What, too soon?
Now, no, it's just like I'm trying to move on because that's like the last bit of this book besides the record sheets.
Yes.
The next book that we're going to look at here.
I just wanted, because they kind of go into a little bit about why this thing sucks.
I do like, though, at the end, they do list new design quirks, which is non-functional for 5 points and illegal for 0 points.
So if you're wondering why the monitors failed, it's because their maintenance costs 3 times as much, because they can't just jump to Earth quickly. That's why. Just for those curious.
The illegal quirk literally means that if you roll You have to roll to see if once it suffers catastrophic failure every 6 turns of combat, and if it does, it suffers 4 critical hits.
What did you mean? Which one?
It's just at the end of the Boondoggles book. They say
Sorry,
what the
I
rules
jumped to
are
caveat.
for the quirks.
I jumped to caveat a little
Perfectly
early.
fine. Kamate Emptor.
So this is actually free. So if you go into our description, one of the links I gave is towards Caveat Emptor. This is free because this is an April Fool's joke.
It's fantastic.
Yep.
I love this book.
Oh, and if
I
you're
think
wondering,
this book is one of their best April Fools they've done.
And if you're wondering, they're Boondoggles. That's only like $5. It's not bad. But this is great. This is free.
This is free, and I should note that it has everything that you need to actually play these units. I would not play these units. These are terrible aside from maybe one of them.
No, you should play them. You need to play them to know
Okay,
just
no,
the
one of
team.
them's actually really good. It's just that it's I struggle to understand the purpose
So
to a degree.
The Carbine Construction Mech mod.
Scam
I love this.
analysis.
Unstable. Haphazard
armor. This thing is Jake's Discount Equipment Warehouse.
Yep. So, yep, that's the producer. So the funniest thing about this thing is construction mechs are pretty common. They're very, like, throughout the entire sphere. They're used for civics works, digging, engineering, and in a lot of cases, particularly on Periphery worlds, they're often converted to fight. You give them, because they are barely capable of using some weaponry.
It's technical.
Yeah.
It's basically a giant technical. And
several lawsuits have been filed against JDO, but few industry observers believe anything will come from them in the current state of emergency, of which being the HPG network shutdown.
Yeah.
This is also, how do I put this? This design is really funny because it gets double heat sinks because they just welded heat sinks together.
For
yes,
what?
Completely unstable. They will actually explode and fail. It has exposed actuators. It has actually like a stable gas hog means it runs through its fuel faster.
Oh, and also here's the other thing: the haphazard armor. So JDO also was hired on to work on marksman models. They had excess amounts of ferrofibrous armor from them, so they just kind of slapped them on random construction mechs and sold it as an improvement.
So the greater the amount of armor came with the cost of actually offering less protection than a standard carbine modification.
Also, EA, you're right. This did come from the Dark Age SureClicks. The construction mech did.
Yes, it did.
This is a variant of the mod.
Yeah, you can see it's the model. They scanned a picture of it and they did some fun stuff with it in Photoshop.
Yep.
It's cute.
I like it.
The next one is really fun.
Yeah.
I love this little fucking thing because it's so stupid.
It has a chainsaw.
Oh, hey, it's a Gundam.
There he is.
So, all right, follow with me here. What if you have an industrial mech that has been converted for combat because it has a giant fucking chainsaw for cutting open trees? What if you're a clanner that smells money?
And better yet, what if you also decided you needed this thing to have as much power as possible?
Let me put it like this. This is basically taking a Ford Model T and slapping a modern, like, Mustang engine into that bitch.
I was thinking
that's what they did with this.
It has an XXL engine.
It has a 300 rated XXL engine.
By the way, these things
10 and runs 15.
Yes, it runs 15. This thing goes 156 kilometers an hour or something like that. Like, this thing is absolutely booking it.
Keep in mind that these things usually only need, like, what is it, the 190 range, 175 range for power?
This thing is incredibly fast. It has enough heat sinks to not die. But they also just decided to give it a fucking improved heavy medium laser because fuck you.
Why not?
Why not? Okay, I just have to know. Okay, so where are you that you need like you're just desperate for mechs, and to a point too, like you just have all this technology on hand as well.
Well, I
Well, they were going
want
to
you to
sell
understand
these as
here.
upgrade
It's a
kits.
Solama mech.
Their plan was actually to sell these as upgrade kits to the Sphere, which I think is really funny because what militia is going to spend this much money to buy that when they could buy, like, I don't know, a bunch
The
of quick
Hetzer.
cell SRM carriers?
But by the way,
Or Hetzer.
Clancy Fox really fucking loved driving this thing because it was so ridiculous.
This thing is amazing in
So
terms of like
it's
like
the
a
reason why
speed
Clancy
thing.
Fox engineers just didn't kill themselves is because they were just like, we're just gonna sell it to the inner sphere guys. Who
No,
cares
no,
if it
no, no.
has melee
They chose
capabilities?
to not find honorable death, mainly because I think they were just having too much fun taking what was essentially Neo-Barb shit and turning it into this.
This next one, I love it.
Battle
This
value
is
for
so
this is by
stupid.
the way is over 500.
Yeah, 571. It's about as much as a charger, like baseline charger, which I think this would be more fun to use than the charger.
I could actually here's the cursed thing. Here's the really cursed thing. I could
Just
actually
field
see.
half a dozen of these.
No, I could see so. I could see many peripheral worlds putting these as your as not an assault mech, but as the melee mech in a light lance.
I mean, it wouldn't be terrible for that. It does have an improved medium heavy laser. Like that is a nasty weapon on a mech this size that's that fast.
I can easily see this being used in certain
The
in
downside
certain
is that
peripheries.
it would get very hot using that very quickly.
Well, that's not the
But
chainsaws
it's a
for,
function.
man.
It's a
but-
functional design, though. At least
That's what the chainsaws
But-
for. Like I could see, like I have no issues with it. I would actually,
It's
I would happily
stupid.
field this as my
Oh, this
assault
is
unit.
incredibly stupid, but it's not the worst design. I mean, it
Yeah.
can theoretically take. But it can
next-
take at least a medium laser to the center torso and not die.
Which for a light in mech that's been converted, that's pretty good.
Well, light mech like this,
Yeah.
that's not terrible. That's not that bad.
Next up here, from
the
the-
Ghostbuster. Look at
from
this.
the
This thing,
from
I
the
love it.
Mississauga militia, supervising technician Francis
Francis
Zappa.
Zappa,
Yeah.
heavy Gauss,
On
an
a mech-
operable under own power.
Well,
That-
yeah. Look at
that-
its engine. What rated 150? You can't power that. What are you fucking on?
It can't just power that. Look, it has to be connected to a base.
It has to be connected to another fusion reactor just to get enough juice
So-
to shoot it.
To give it, yes, there is the reason why I love the backstory on this thing. They had a Hollander 2 that was sidelined with fusion reactor damage, so they were looking to see if they could do something with that heavy Gauss. They had a Buster Hauler mech that they realized could actually,
It could hold
carry
it,
that
yeah.
heavy Gauss rifle. The problem, is that well, they gave it battle mech grade armor. It theoretically can move. It's got I mean, it's not good armor,
It has 2
but it's
heat
there,
sinks. Holy shit.
and a couple of heat sinks to handle the heat this thing generates. So
It's heavy Gauss
best
recoil
is-
through bolt. Well, yeah, it's a Hollander 2's Gauss rifle. What do you expect?
It's a 50-ton mech. It's
Oh,
going to be really. I will say this: if this thing fires at you, you're going to fucking regret it.
EA,
The
though,
problem-
has pointed out here, it has only 4 shots.
Yeah.
It only has 4 shots, but anything that it hits with those 4 shots, it's a heavy Gauss rifle.
On top of that, so Mississauga, the best way to describe this world is, so you know how the Federated Suns has an entire outback area that's backwater to
That's
hell.
this. That's this sort of world. Yes.
Basically, yeah, and it's near Jade Falcon areas, so this is
So
legitimately.
it's theoretically capable of when it comes to the idea of we need to get a heavy Gauss rifle into a mobile position. There's worse designs.
For desperation mech, this is fine.
This is fine. This isn't trying to sell it. This isn't a scam. This is I guess we gotta make this work
This
because
is Jade Falcon will try to invade us. We need something to at least challenge their bat call.
we need something that at least can surprise somebody, because it's like it takes about a minute to wrangle the cable onto this thing, so they can theoretically relocate this, put the power supply down, and now it's ready to go. Like,
In all honesty, I would have put this. I guess they didn't have anything heavier than this, so yeah.
I mean, it
They
works.
probably didn't have a vehicle that could mount it, so they had to use this. Like, there's a
The
logic
next
here.
the next one is, I love this thing.
It's a bus.
This is a hauler mech that has been retrofitted as a mobile artillery carrier.
By the way, hello there, Simon.
Of course, it's from Astrokazi, because Astrokazi is fucking space, just Afghanistan. It's featured in a couple of Battletech novels.
Wait,
one of which
are those the
includes...
ones? Are those the ones that kicked the ass of the clanners when they were escaping?
No, this is on
Oh,
the
that's a
other side of the
different
sphere.
space Afghanistan.
No, like, it's literally like founded by like Muslim refugees from another area. It's really funny. They'll do stuff like they'll use horse riding infantry to deliver det packs to mechs to get them to the point where they can then seize the mech's control.
I mean, it works.
By disabling them.
Oh,
And I mean, if it
please
works,
tell me! Oh, please tell me they have heavy laser rifles that look like Zambaraks.
they probably would.
Come on, don't you want like a laser Zambarak you put on a camel?
I can see that. No, but the thing is, this is not a terrible design. Like, it's a poor design, yes. It has a really bad thing. It has an infantry compartment. It has like a couple of things. Like, technically, the design is illegal. It would be. It's a really fun little pirate mech idea, though. It's basically this. It's a pirate mech that's carrying a big artillery piece, which is a thumper. That's solid.
It's a
weapon
thumper
there.
attached to a uni.
And it's got good armor. It's got a decent speed. It's okay. I like this thing. This is not terrible.
It's an abomination, but for what
it's an
you
abomination
need
to man and God.
Well,
But
the abomination's coming up next.
The true abomination is this thing, yes.
What is this creature?
This is a porcupine. It's now a lot worse with the new rules because it loses some of its well, let me put it like this, 23 times 20 potential damage if you're willing to let it explode itself. The new rules have sort of nerfed this thing a little bit, but honestly...
Yes, for those who don't know, Battletech is getting an update to its rules for the first time in 30 years.
Oh, yeah,
a lot of it is to like change things around to make things a little more consistent, fix a couple of things in the balance that just were not doing too well.
Certain types of SRMs got updated too, so if you like to use missiles, you might want to look at those.
The big one, though, is the change to how charge rules work, which actually makes the charger arguably better, but because it's more reliable. It puts damage to the TMM times the weight, like a modifier, rather than just like a straight up like exponential growth curve, mostly to prevent shit post mechs like this, a 20-ton mech that goes 23 hexes with spikes and a mask.
Yeah, you're killing infantry with that thing.
So the concept of this is legitimately it was supposed to abuse the charge rules at the time.
It abuses
it
the
has
charge
no
rules.
guns.
Yes. It is well, it does have a laser anti-missile system, but effectively speaking, this thing is designed to not get shot as best you can. It has an XXL engine for the extra speed. Is it good?
It is
no.
Well, no, it's a 11.5 million C-bill roll of the dice.
Yes, on the one hand, it could absolutely, completely fucking obliterate an enemy. On the other hand, it could also just not, and just destroy itself.
Essentially what happened was the guy who made this had one idea, he wanted to abuse it really hard, And he was even told, "What are you doing?" And he said, "I don't care. I'm doing it anyway." And this is what it is. By the way, this thing
Speaking of,
costs as much for this one unit. You could get 3 Panthers instead. So this
Yeah,
is actually shit in every way.
yeah, moving on to another mech, a wasp. Wait, why would a
Hey,
wasp be here? They're reliable. I mean, look, it's got a medium laser. Strength. It's got Thunderbolt. It's got 2 Thunderbolt 5s in the lower legs.
yeah,
Oh,
yeah. Also, it has compact heat sinks and rampant expense because this thing is ridiculous for what you're getting out of it. They
there's
replaced
also
everything to ultralights. They replaced the missile racks with class 5 thunderbolts, which I think got buffed in the new rules.
slightly. They're no longer as vulnerable to anti-missile systems.
So if you like thunderbolts, the weapon, not the mech, it's a bit better now.
yeah. So
So yeah, this thing is basically, hey, let's take a piece of shit like the Wasp and just essentially this is, what if I made a bug mech, but I decided to blow all of my money into making this the best bug mech I could make.
Yeah, it's still expensive.
It's a
though.
bug
Like,
mech.
I still have my idea of you have a wasp, you put a little knife on it.
Oh, by the way, the
Stabby.
company that made this, so the Republic intentionally, forcibly disarmed and broke the company apart because of the
and the other
horror.
problem with it is, all right, so it's got the Thunderbolt with the ammunition. It's got all that. Is it better than the other stuff? It's way more expensive than a standard Wasp for mediocre returns.
You could field it, but it would not be worth it.
Right.
Simon, yeah. I mean, some of the stuff here, they're basically impractical.
They're bad in the sense that the books are not bad. They're entertaining, mainly because they show bad designs.
The next one though is actually terrible.
Oh god, this creature.
So, all right,
You know
the
things are great.
Valkyrie.
You know things are great when the supervising technician is redacted.
The Valkyrie, right? The Valkyrie is an interesting 30-tonner that's sort of meant to be this fire support mech with like an LRM-10. There's a few other
The
variants.
workhorse of the Fed Sons.
This one is a mixed clan tech variant because they decided to throw an ATM on there. So the problem with that is that it's clanner ATMs. That's expensive as fuck.
Remind me again, what does ATM stand for?
Advanced Tactical Missile System. Really, really good. They're basically improved missiles for in every way. It's just that you know,
And MML is
multi-missile launcher. So this thing
it's got a lot
carries
of missiles and a
lot of
medium pulse wave.
ammunition.
The problem is you have to use clanner missiles.
For the ATM, which is that it's like,
Oh,
okay,
and that armor value though.
that
Yeah.
armor is not very great. It's a light mech. I mean, you're not gonna have.
I
to be
mean, you
great.
do have
At least
case.
at least it can take a blow to the center torso. That's something. The main thing about it is that like it's not very fast. That's the real killer for it.
Ooh.
Yeah, so the
Take
thing
a look
is,
at that
one of the things
speed.
that, yeah, here's the thing. The Valkyrie, one of the few things that, like, it's an okay mech at best. Its main thing was speed. This thing had to cut speed to put the missiles on. It is literally bad at everything you want a Valkyrie for.
Right, it's not fast enough. It doesn't have armor really.
It
Like
lost
it
what
has
armor
some,
it
but-
had.
No, it has armor. It has about as much armor as you need. The main problem
Do you
is
like
the
exploding?
ATM.
Do you like exploding
Yeah.
while screaming?
It's like making a Phoenix Hawk that doesn't move. No one would be stupid enough to do that.
Yeah. Anyway, up next is the Daedalus variant, which
I love its head. It looks so stupid.
this thing is
I like the thing they unveiled this mech at Branson Brewery.
Yeah, because there was
Because
well,
that's how you want to
Solaris.
introduce your death machine.
It is a expensive one-off design. It was 45 tons, custom exoskeleton XXL engine. And I want to note this, for the primary weaponry is a heavy PPC with a PPC capacitor. That is
One of the
A-
choices of all time.
absolutely insane. That is a grand total of 20 heat on a mech that's going to be generating 6 heat baseline from that fucking engine. If I'm remembering my math right. Unless, is it 2 or is it... but, like, it's an XXL engine. This thing is going to run hot.
Oh, also keep in mind that the reason this thing is ridiculous, 90 million. 90 million
It's
C-bills.
also insanely expensive.
Custom built endoskeleton, custom built
Because
armor.
yeah,
If you fire
appar-
everything, it will automatically shut itself off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, these are Solaris mechs. These are usually some of the more interesting ones.
Solaris one-off designs are always fun.
It's also
I mean,
a
I'd,
pain
I'd,
to
I'd
maintain.
say like this. Yeah, maybe take out the heavy PPC.
Then you lose the
Keep the
point of
rest in.
making it.
Well, maybe make just a regular PPC.
That might have helped. That would have also cut tonnage, but it's still like everything about this design is just insane.
Something pig on lipstick something.
Well, yeah, the original Daedalus was one of the concepts of all time. Oh, hey, look, a Phoenix Hawk. Why is this on here?
Oh
Oh.
let's see
look at
here.
this stat line.
So yeah. So first of all, okay, it's a Phoenix Hawk. Walking 0, running 1, jump 2. That's strange. That's strange.
What?
10 double heat sinks, fair. Heavy duty gyro.
Why does it have an
18
engine
and a
rating?
half tons of fucking hardened armor.
What?
My other question,
Good
why is its engine
Lord.
only rated at 45?
He's sick
Basically
forever.
because it's a minimal. That's an urban mech engine they basically shoved in this thing.
Wait, what?
Yes.
Now, the actual armor on this, because of modular, it's hardened with modular armor on the side torsos to make them, in the legs to make them tougher. It has a
Also,
it has a
the
large
designer's
X
name.
pulse laser.
No, we'll continue. Yeah.
Its gait has been described as a barefoot rheumatic nonagenarian with hip trauma and PTSD walking on glass.
And its
It also has
designer's
some
name.
lasers.
Its designer's name, Biff McStrongjaw.
And that's his real last name.
Screw the guy who came up with it. Screw the guy who approved it for manufacture.
This thing is absolutely one of the dumbest things I've ever seen and want to actually run at some point. It is a shitpost of a mech. It is a 45 tonner that is more durable than some assaults.
You put it on a Phoenix Hawk.
I want to have the assault. I want to have assault mech value armor on a medium mech. No, not a 50. No, what are you talking about? 45. No, it has to stay under 45
It has hardened
tons.
armor, which is even tougher than normal. This thing is insane. Next up is I don't even know what this.
The Volk.
Okay. Plagiarism, probably.
This is a terrible.
Oh, it's a Solaris 7
idea.
product.
It's
So.
a Solaris 7 project they tried to put into like actual major production.
Oh God.
I mean, look, it's got a lance. It's got a targeting computer. 4 medium pulse lasers in the head.
Okay.
A head turret. A mask and a supercharger.
Its armor's a bit for a 45 tonner. Its armor is okay, a little light, I think, but not bad.
The main problem is it's a melee medium mech. Those are always kind of in an iffy spot.
Doesn't help. It's only a 45 tonner.
Yeah.
You can get away with it if it's a bit bulkier, but yeah.
Then we have the
The night.
Aqua
Oh, by the
Gladys.
way, the Night Stalker. That's the. It's a big shitpost reference to. There's another mech called a Night Stalker that does what this thing does, but better.
Basically, yes. It's a worse version of that.
Convince the Ma'am Aqua Gladys. Scam analysis. Convincing the RAF that underwater mechs are a thing.
Hanger Queen. Oh no.
It's got
Yeah,
Umu.
would
Underwater.
you guess this? Would
What
you
the
guess by
fuck is
looking
it
at this amazing aquatic design that this thing was meant to be in water? Look how aerodynamic this fucking thing is.
At 50 tons.
That's fair. I don't see what the issue is at the moment. Why does it have flame units as a water mech? Why
Don't
does
worry
it
about
have flamer units?
Now, Adam, what if I told you the original model of this, the original one that was made on Solaris, had a stupid looking fucking flail on it too, that it
I
would
could
swing
believe it.
around?
So let's see this. They wanted to make it. They wanted to make a mech that can go underwater. Fair enough. You just got to waterproof it. That's annoying. I'm trying to figure out like other things on why this is terrible. I mean, obviously there's many reasons. I'm just, but the battle value is
It's
expensive.
pointless. Like, all right, so it has underwater movement units, which are useless outside of the water.
Okay.
It has a heavy PPC and capacitor. That's fine. That's fine. Like, the weaponry is okay-ish, but the problem is, it's like, this is a 300 XXL engine mech at 50 tons that gets very, very hot, that has a lot of these just patchwork armor values that are really difficult to do. It has triple strength armor, which is kind of nice, but like not great because you have to get really hot.
Difficult
And
ejection. Oh god.
And it's just not great.
You know, the funniest thing
it's
is, you know what the funniest thing is? So these mechs are hot, right? I think this is a bit of a parody referencing Gundam again, because one of the values of underwater specialist mechs are that you could just use the seawater to keep cool.
right, extra heat dispersion. I mean, that's the thing in Battletech as well. But
If you're curious, that's why they're able to use like full-on particle beam cannons even without the condensers. It's pretty neat.
Yeah, the next mech is actually one that I kind of like as a concept.
The Scourge.
Okay.
No, this is a Scourge refit.
Hey, that's just the Star Slayer.
Yeah, it's similar to the Star Slayer. It's heavier though. It's a heavy mech, not a medium.
So it's a bitch to maintain, and it has exposed actuators, which is always a concern.
But it
Right.
does have an Ultra AC-10 clan
It has an
variant.
Ultra AC-10 clan variant and
Okay.
a improved heavy laser, which I want to say this. That is a nasty fucking weapon to have.
Yeah, especially for its tonnage.
For its tonnage, hell, not even just for its tonnage. In general, that is a real fucking nasty weapon. It hits like a truck.
It dies
it's
like a
hot.
frog in a blender, but that's fine.
However, and it explodes. But hey, it is the best laser weapon you can. Really
I mean,
get
it has
for
a
the tonnage.
malfunction. I don't know what it just says. It's prone to malfunctioning. I just know that.
So it did. The problem that it mainly had is a bunch of glitches because they're trying to get this. It has an AES, which is like this thing to increase accuracy. That wasn't working properly. As a design, like, this one is not a shitpost. This is an actual functional design. It just needs the quirks hammered out.
Okay.
That's about it.
Yeah, because here's the thing: exposed actuators. That's not nice, but like,
Reinforced legs, difficult to maintain. Like, it's not amazing, but it works fine.
I mean, you just need a platform for the gun anyway, right? So
Yeah,
why
and
not
it's
just
not
use
bad
this?
with that. It's a 5.8. It's a 5.8 mech. It's moving decently speed-wise.
Yeah,
It's
it has
not
decent heat sinks
over there. It has good armor value for its tonnage.
and it has enough heat sinks that you don't cook to death after firing that too much.
Right.
The Omni
The next
Marauder.
Take a look at the name for it though, the Mad Bro.
Mad Bro. You mad?
The You Mad Bro.
And I
The
need you
funniest
need
bit
to,
about this is it's a fantastic design on paper. This is everything you could want out of a Marauder, and more.
but read through the list of weapons it has.
Okay.
Clan,
ERPPC, extended medium laser,
Clan,
double
Hag
heat.
30, Clan.
Everything. Why does it have everything?
It's an Omni Marauder.
It's a Marauder that's been updated.
I have to say is how the fuck is this a mixed inner sphere? This is clan tech.
Well, because the
Well,
plasma
no,
rifle's
there's-
not.
Plasma
Oh.
rifles are not
Same with the Gauss
so-
rifle.
Clan tech.
So what I
The
gather here
compact
is
gyro
what I gather here is that mech construction operates on the one drop rule.
It really does. Like it's this thing is absolutely insane. The problem is that it's also way too expensive.
Over 2,000 battle value.
It's
over
not even
2,800.
battle value in C bills because it's running all clan tech.
Yep.
For an Omni mech, this thing is hellishly expensive. It's really good. It has advanced armor. It has a fantastic, everything about it is really good. It's just expensive as balls, man. Like, you just cannot buy this.
I kind of want to read the opening paragraph just because the other thing is, as we go through this booklet, they get more and more blatant with just messing around with the dialogue. And this is one of the more serious ones. A couple of the ones previous were not. There are countless axioms in the mech manufacturing world. Many are bunk, but some hold true, such as there's a customer for every battle mech. Related to that is you can always sell a Marauder. It should come as no surprise then that GM went and made another Marauder. What's surprising is they actually made it different and better this time around. Also, they made it an Omni mech. Why not? I don't know who this Steel guy is, but I like the cut of his jib.
The thing about this is that it's not a terrible idea to make an Omni Marauder. The problem is that this thing can't really take any of the really big weapons you'd really, really, really want.
Well, the other problem is just price. It's not really that it's a good mech for what it is, for its tonnage.
Oh yeah, it's expensive.
Yeah, and if you lose this, there's no point. Look at I also like how fancy it looks compared to the normal Marauder.
It does look really good. The record sheet for it, I think that might have the
It does not have. So there is a cheaper variant, the Mad Bro for just 2,127 battle value.
That's the heavy Gauss variant, which also has a plasma
cheaper.
rifle. The reason why it's cheaper is that it's all ammunition-based weaponry.
Oh, by the way, they no. I thought for a minute there they had the generator's armor value too, the generator for the Gauss Buster.
Yeah, it's just this is one of my favorite April Fool's ones because it gave you one actually really interesting unit at the end that you could actually use.
Well, no, it gave you several that I think are interesting and not too
a lot
ridiculous.
of these are standard level rules.
It also shows if you're really creative. If you're really creative and feel like making God cry, you could take battle mechs and just do this to them.
I think that it's quite funny though. Like some of the designs are objectively terrible. But I want to run it, which is the Phoenix Hawk because that's
the
just
Phoenix Hawk
a silly one.
The Phoenix Hawk
it's
can't run.
It can barely move. It's like a walk 1, run 2 now in the modern rule set, so it's been slightly buffed.
Oh, it can actually move now.
Well,
yes.
Here's the thing: the record sheet, it can run 1, it just can't walk. Which that
can now walk 1, run 1, I think. Which, all right, fair.
Yeah, would now. Hey, it can jump 2.
Yeah, it can jump 2. It's theoretically usable. It's really tough, but in its range is not that good either. It only has like a 9 hex range. But it's funny as hell to have a Phoenix Hawk with hardened armor.
It can't
The
move.
base- It can't move. It's barely able to move, but it could theoretically just stand there, take a lot of punishment, and shoot you in the face.
I think my favorite out of the April Fool's shitposts that seems legit is the one where they took the lumber mech, chopped off an arm, put a cannon on it, and then just gave it a fucking clanner engine just so it could run as fast as possible towards you.
I mean, what the hell
That's
else are you going to do with your time?
Again, this book has a lot more like it's an April Fool's book.
It's a good
great
one.
The other fun TRO that I was considering throwing at you was their experimental TRO 1945.
Oh yeah, that
which
one.
is all World War II vehicles statted for Battletech.
Well, here's the
But-
weird thing about that. So there's different tech levels, right, in the setting. The lowest
Not
tier
really.
of well, there used to be.
Like when we're talking tech level stuff like that, it's a little bit different.
But
There's some
there are
experimental rules,
worlds
but
that could have those World War II vehicles just because that's the industrial base they
equivalents.
have. But no, all in all, I'd say the April Fool's one, it's a good book, it's especially since it's free. It has stuff in there you can actually use fair and square. And it gives you some ideas on some of the nonsense you can do if you know how to construct a mech. The Boondoggles one, it's decent. I always love looking at bad military procurement because that's always entertaining. You get some very interesting and fucked up responses whenever you look at it in real life.
I think that this second book is the one where I just like
That's
some
where
of
the gold
these
is.
designs. It's all right.
Because they're
The mech
playable.
that needs the extra power plant to actually shoot the big gun is funny, and it's also something that I can 100% see.
Especially on a periphery world or in the outback or in any backwater. I can also see the
Well,
up-engined industrial mech, maybe not to that degree, but if you decided to slap on like a 200 rated, sure.
like there's a few good ideas behind it. Like it's
Yeah, I got an industrial mech. We managed to get our hands on an engine because let's say we dug it out of a similar size light mech that's rated for military, slap it into the industrial mech. We can get the laser attached. Like you just make a less insane version of it. There you go.
I know. It's also fun to look at these kind of designs because some of them are genuinely ones where you're like, okay, like I could use this in a game where
No,
I
here's
should make
my
something like this.
my April Fool's idea. They should have done. They should do what they did to the Phoenix Hawk, but reverse for the Irby. So it's like the most fast, frightening little trash can ever.
There's a few variants of the Irby that are like that. The Suburban Mech is one of the great examples of that.
The Porcupine's just a meme.
The Porcupine is just a meme, and now it's been nerfed. For good reason, because it was ridiculous to be able to have a
Come on, it's totally
a
reasonable.
locust that moves 20 hexes a turn, run into another mech, explode, and both of them die.
Come on,
For
it's
basically
totally
no
fair.
battle value.
It is totally fair to have a 20-ton bug mech yeet itself into an Atlas, killing it instantly and making me flip my table in rage.
Like it's a stupid thing, but it was something that people did for the memes. Some of the things other people have done for meme reasons is to figure out how fast you can actually get a mech to go.
No, also the Omni Marauder is a perfect example of, and the Wasp, because they did it with the Wasp as well. That's another common meme thing where it's like, okay, I'm gonna take this piece of shit or this like workhorse, and then just dump all my C-bills into it. I don't care that I can only field like 2 of this. This is just for the funnies. It's the same thing as, hypothetically, if you wanted to in BattleTech, you could just field all infantry. Oh yeah, I'm gonna field an all infantry army. But what's that? You got an entire like 5 lances of. I don't care. I got like thousands of soldiers that will die, and I will choke you to death on my own dead.
Didn't one of these TROs have like Godzilla, but it wasn't Godzilla?
I think they did. I think they did stat a couple of kaiju.
No. Godzilla, G-A-U.
Oh yeah, that's a different thing. Yeah, I know they statted something like that.
They did. That's in TRO Golden Century, if I remember correctly.
Luckily for me, all I need is a little bit of luck and an Atlas charging right at it. Isn't that right, Tech Priest? Ah, ah, ah.
That was one of the stupidest things I've ever seen happen.
That's just my plot armor activating.
It really was.
That's Biggie luck. If you're curious, the way his dice roll, you'll either get nothing but 20s, nothing but ones, or alternatively, the equivalent would be exploding failure.
He also killed that Godzilla with a single headshot,
The-
if I remember correctly.
Essentially, the way his luck works is like Flax CO power from Advanced Wars.
So to explain what was happening was I was playing a game of Battletech via Mega Mech with my good friend Tech Priest here. We had a pretty cool match, which was pretty cool, and I think he was on a losing streak. And it's like, okay, Biggie, it's time for the clan match, honorable clan match. It's like, oh boy, and then he made a ridiculously long fucking track where it was basically like he was gonna shoot me like fish in a barrel, where my fucking Atlas had to run all the way to the Godzilla as he was sniping me. Oh yeah, and I had points left over too for an Irby. So the match starts. Irby gets fucking blown the fuck out. Like he smashes into the ground, but he's still alive. Meanwhile, there I am, utilizing the cliffs as cover. And I think we were using clan rules too, and Tech Priest called me an asshole. And then
well, look, let me put it like this, Biggie. You were rolling insanely well in every game we had played to that point, and I was just getting to the point where it's just like, God damn it, I need to win at least one match. So
yeah,
I did the balanced BV. The balanced BV match was you got the two mechs, you had the Atlas and the Irby.
Yeah, two mechs, Irby and an Atlas.
The duality of mechs.
It's the Godzilla. It can only move 2-3. It's as fast as an urban mech. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
The stupidest thing about that is that it ends the same way the last match had ended, where his Atlas headshots my last mech with the AC-20.
I thought it was an ammo explosion, if I remember correctly, is what did you in.
No, it wouldn't have been an ammo explosion because it's a Godzilla. It doesn't have ammo to explode.
And thus led to me screaming and laughing like a madman.
So basically, he won by pure fucking luck, as I completely whiffed every single goddamn shot that I threw at that Atlas.
Oh no, you were hitting me, but the problem was it was an Atlas, so it was able to take a couple of hits.
And I wasn't able to get more than like one hit around, so you were passing PSRs.
Oh my god, I found it.
Also, Coyote is correcting you. They do actually explode. They're just much less likely to than some other weapon types.
No, the Gauss rifles can explode, but the difference is between the Gauss rifle. The Gauss rifle doesn't explode the same way. The ammunition explosion's a bit different.
Yeah. Also, Nicholas wants us to review the Disney Princess one at some point, the TRO for them.
That could be something.
Yes, I roll all of those Gauss rifles, two misses, one hit. You hit the Gauss rifle, which explodes, blows off the torso, blacks out my pilot, and at that point, it's like, okay, yeah, that's it.
We do need to show the image of this.
Apparently, we need to witness this. They want you, the viewers, to witness this.
And as we're doing that, we should think about what we should do for next week. Now, I do have one of my recent favorite, I guess, shit posts of an RPG that I've found. Hypermall Unlimited Violence.
What?
This thing.
Yes, Hypermall Unlimited Violence.
Oh man, I don't know if I'll be here next week, but that one's a riot.
That's one of the choices of all time.
We could review the first expansion to the Sorcerer RPG, Sword, Soul, and Sex.
The thing that inspired all of those degenerates. By the way, here is the final results of the battle, just for those of you who want to witness it.
I do need to point out the name of that Atlas Biggie.
What's wrong? I don't know what you're talking about.
true phalangism has never been tried before.
Absolutely Shrek'd.
And an appropriate blue.
That
I just chose it because there was some pretty
pirate
sick
match.
colors.
Oh God.
Yeah.
Do you really want to cover the thing that is half the reason all of these weird Powered by the Apocalypse games go into like bondage and shit? Because so for those of you
No.
curious, I mean I don't want
Long
to
answer
either.
is no.
You have to understand, we're basically researchers, and we're trying to look for the patient zero that is the cancer that is killing tabletop.
I mean, I'm not
No, that
against
one's already
doing it.
there. It's fucking Wizards of the Coast. But the
I'm not against covering the horrible sex book. I mean, it'd be rated 18 plus, and we have to cover a horrible book after what we've read here. So
There is the RPG that Onyx Path came out with. That's supposed to be more of a therapy
that sounds horrible.
based RPG. I kind of don't want to shit on it just because it does. There's a good purpose, it seems, behind it. At the same time,
No,
this is it's good.
I'd rather not.
the
Have
point
a
of a
conversation with
TTRPG
the
is to have a game. It's not if you're doing a struggle session as your TTR. Just stop.
No, it is actually by a group that is trying to use role-playing games as a therapeutic treatment.
as a therapeutic
I would rather
supplement,
not.
guess
I would
would be the
rather
best way
not
to
have a
put it.
role play session with the rapist.
Nah,
No, it's more like the idea of being able to put like the situation out. Like if you were ever in like any sort of child psychology thing, this sort of thing is very common for like
Yeah,
helping.
but I
it's
don't-
more aimed for child psychology, which I don't feel like shitting on
No?
it that much, just because.
I will because that's essentially just a combination of look at me, we're so superior, and it kind of has a weird vibe to that, you know? Like they're not specialists in the field and they're doing that.
Look,
What?
if I have to deal with your trauma dump, I get them mock the fuck out of you. All right.
It's weird, especially since a lot of these people worked in White Wolf, which had some of the. I don't know. I don't think I trust them. I don't think I trust them around this
No,
sort of
well,
stuff.
I think there is
Adam, you're making it sound like
there
that's
is actually
you're
a-
making it
a-
sound like. Go ahead.
I believe there is, I think somebody in it who is actually a medical professional.
And you're making it sound like that's supposed to be prestigious, when in reality, if you work at White Wolf, you're basically 2 steps. You're only 2 steps away from having a mental fucking break.
A reminder, it was White Wolf alumni that resulted in the Succubus Club that only had cheesy things that had occurred in it horrifically every 40 pages.
Why don't we put it up for a vote then?
Yeah,
Do we
I'm
want
gonna say we're not doing the
Hyper
therapy one.
Mall? We're not doing that.
We're not doing the therapy one, but Hyper Mall and what's the other horrible one?
Would be the Sword, Soul, and Sex supplement for Sorcerer.
Hey, which type of brain tumor do you want today, chat? I'll put a poll on. I think I'll put a poll on our Discord, and on top of that, I'll put one onto our channel. I'll put it on sometime probably tomorrow because I'm already not willing to think about either of these.
I think
So-
a better poll they should vote on is whether or not if they want to have stats and create and fight the shit golem. You,
Oy
brave
vey.
viewer, can go onto our Discord and see if you want to fight the shit golem. Please let me know, and I will give stats for it. I'll make both rules for Pathfinder and 5e.
And if you're curious, I have put a link to our Discord in the description in our stream. Have a good night, and oh god, I don't really want to think about either of those books.
Vote yes for shit golem.
Think about
Vote
Battletech.
no for Hypermall.
I'm thinking about the sword. I'm thinking